Do you like racing in a track, on the streets, through rivers and up mountains? Or do you like an open world with solo or co-op and limited live options? Or do you just like designing cosmetics on cars? If you said yes to any of these, Horizon 5 may be just right for you. I'm Nima. I want to talk about Forza Horizon 5. Now, Horizon 5 is not exactly an arcade racer or a sim, which if I'm honest, I wasn't very happy about. I like a game where you can hold down the gas pedal and just steer. Even my dad said, God forbid you play a game that requires skill. And yes, I called my dad for tips. He's not a gamer, but he was a professional driver. With that being said, I'm happy to report you won't need tips from my dad to be competent in this game. Just a little bit of practice and maybe the right car. Each car has its own feel. When I started, I was taken back by my lack of control. Apparently, I like a car that has better handling and less horsepower. All of these are different, and every car individually has different characteristics to it. I will say I haven't been able to tell the difference between all the cars, but I'm sure they're there. The team that designed the game went through painstaking detail on every aspect of the game, not only the cars, but the environment as well. So when I believe that they put this detail into the cars, it's because I look at everything else in the game. Everything from towns, ruins, and landmarks that you visit are based in reality, as the team deeply studied many aspects of Mexico. In Horizon 5, there are many expeditions you can unlock, which will unlock many different types of races, from traditional track style to sprint races to drag races, and races with certain objectives. While you're out unlocking expeditions and competing in races, you can also look for hidden barns that store rare cars, which is really cool because it adds this kind of hide and seek mentality to the game. Just another little element that is fun. Like, you might find a car that you can't get anywhere else besides going off road and just exploring the vast environment. You can also compete in limited live events that happen all the time. Like as you're playing the game, in just like a 1 or 2 hour session, you will find multiple limited live events that you can compete with other racers in like a battle royale kind of one-on-one race to decide who's going to be the final victor. Or a lot of co-op events as well, like doing drift tracks or smashing stuff or all sorts of stuff. Like the limited live events are really, really cool. They're engaging, but I wouldn't say that they are intimidating or anything like that. I never came upon anyone who was just aggressive to be aggressive. Everyone just seemed to really enjoy playing the game and having fun either way. Uh, if that is against each other or as a team. It was a lot of fun just to do the limited live events, which also add up to limited rare cars that you can end up collecting. And when I say that there's not enough time in this video to cover everything in the game, I mean it. As I was getting the video ready for this, I kept running into different events and different expeditions and I would say like exploratory modes where I was required to do stuff like find seismic activity on a volcano, which is crazy for a car game where that's something that you're doing. But it just kept going on, and there was just a ton of stuff to do. I didn't even get enough for each individual race. Like, I wanted to show each different race mode that I could get, and I didn't have enough time. There was just so much to cover, and every time I would think about, okay, well, I need to get like a drag style race on camera or something like that, then a limited live event would pop up, and I would go, oh, these people need to see this. This is really cool. This is really fun. There's just a plethora of different options to do in this game. Now, for the graphics, which it's a car game, so they're all beautiful, but this one really takes like that whole like photorealistic and just I don't know, it's beautiful. I can't say enough about how amazing the game looks. Um, I even had it like in like the more graphical intensive mode, and honestly, I didn't even notice like a frame drop. Um, but yeah, it just takes that photorealistic to another. I think to another level. If I'm being honest, I played it on the Xbox Series and had no problems at all with performance or graphics or any of that. I really felt like the game was just incredibly detailed, incredibly beautiful. And it's one of those games that the hours just fly by. You can sit there and you're playing. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna play for like an hour, and before you know it, it's been 2 or 3 hours as you've just been chasing down different objectives, and you go from race to race. Then a live event pops up, and oh, after you win a race too, you also get to do what they call a wheel spin, which is where you get to spin this wheel and you get everything from in-game currency to cars to like cosmetics for your own character. So you're also kind of chasing that, working on your own inventory, your car inventory. You want to try every car you get. I actually had the fun of designing my own car, and if anyone could name who that car is designed on that you see in the video, that kudos to you. You know a little bit about me that I threw out there. And even that, like, it took me like, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 minutes to design, but it was fun. It's not good, but there's people who will take hours, like, doing amazing, like, wraps and vinyls and things that they can put on their car and to truly customize it to make it their own. The creativity that is allowed in this game is phenomenal, and I could see, like, a big community that just focuses on that. You can trade and share your different designs as well as your cars. You can sell your cars, which I thought was really cool. There's like an open auction where maybe you've come across a few types that you don't really play with that much, you don't really use, it's not your style. Then you can sell it, buy a car that you want, or something of that nature. Ultimately, I have to say that I would recommend this game for just about anyone. And I mean that, like, if you are just barely into racing, I think you would end up falling deep in with this game and just spending so much more time than you mean playing it because of just how expansive it is and how it's constantly growing. That's another thing about Horizon in general. When you talk about like Forza Horizon 4, that game was growing and there was updates, there was modes, there were seasonal events added basically up until Horizon 5. The game just keeps expanding and growing. It's almost become more of an online like service type play game instead of just a buy the disc, everything's on that disc. They've really expanded that format, and I personally appreciate the fact that they've made it fairly, I would say, fiscally possible. You're not paying the $14.99 of a sub fee for some of the other like online kind of games, even though it kind of does remind me of like an MMO style like sub type game that we see, where usually you have to pay some sort of fee, rather it be in a sub or it'd be like in a battle pass or something, which has been big recently. No, this you just pay your fee and then you're good. You got it, and they throw in these free updates, they throw in these free modes, all these seasonal events. All that, as that game just keeps growing and the community keeps getting bigger and bigger. As I was playing for the review this weekend, I noticed there was like 800,000 people who were signed up for it. The game doesn't officially drop until today, actually, which is insane. Like, that many people were playing it before, which also means that you had to pay extra for it. For myself, I didn't really have to pay too much. I'll be honest. It was a relatively small amount, but for some people who don't have Game Pass, don't have Game Pass Ultimate, don't have any of those options, you had to pay like $99 to play this game for 4 days early. Or if you have Game Pass, you can just wait until today and it's up there for free. So there was a number of people who paid that extra to play the game early. And I mean, I don't know if I suggest doing that, even though it's too late anyway. But I would suggest playing the game. And really, the two things that I would say. First off, don't get discouraged at the beginning. I first fired this game up, and at the very beginning, I noticed like I was sliding everywhere, just falling off the track, and I couldn't seem to get it figured out. Like, I just kept fishtailing everywhere. Couldn't seem to win a race because my car wouldn't stay on the track, and so I ended up having to like I said, call my dad, call Jeff Gordon over there, and be like, hey, what do I do? Like, how do I steer into this? Because I honestly thought that this was going to be more of an arcadey game and less of a sim game, and it kind of turns out like it marries the two, and it actually marries the two rather well, because after just a little bit of practice, I got the hang of it pretty well. As you're watching the video, you can see I still fly around the track, but I feel like I have more control. It only took like, I would say maybe half an hour of just practice. And I actually think that that divide in simulation and arcade has actually really kept me engaged as well, because it does add like just a tad bit more of a difficulty spike to a game where it can be just kind of mind numbing. Like arcade racers are fun, but they are also mind numbing after a while. You're just holding down a button and steering. This one you really are having to kind of do that extra effort of, trajectory, and work on your speed, and make sure that you're braking when you need to, and watch your speed into turns and things of that nature. It doesn't take it as far as some games. There are some games out there that are just infuriating how much of a simulator it is, and you got to be like really really good. Now this isn't that, so don't get scared by that, because it's definitely not that. But it does just add that little bit into it to make you keep playing, honestly, to keep you engaged. And each car, like I said, does handle different. And I will say, as I said, I couldn't tell the difference between all of them. I couldn't in all of them. But when it's like a Porsche to a Lamborghini, you can tell the difference. And definitely when it's like a Bronco to a Toyota Supra, you can definitely tell the difference. What I meant by that was just in certain types of, let's say a Bronco to an F-150, I couldn't tell that much of a difference. By the way, I love the fact that you have all those options. I found myself just toying around like on an F-150, like in a racing game, which is crazy. Like why would you use that? But it was just kind of fun to get around in, and it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I can't think of many bad elements of this game. As I've been writing this review and working on it, I was trying to think like what would be the things that I would say it needs to improve on, or it needs to change. I would say like the last version of the game, I felt maybe didn't walk you through step by step, like what am I supposed to do, where am I going. This game really fixed that. I never really got lost in this game. I knew exactly what path I should be on. The accessibility, they go above and beyond. Like if you have a disability, they really adhere the controls to help you to be able to play this game. I was very impressed with the accessibility that this team put into this game. And even something like I usually use subtitles when I'm playing games, because often I listen to podcasts or radio or something like that. And they had so many options, everything from font size to do I want it to be transparent, like, and that's just a small element of the accessibility. It does go far and beyond. Honestly, I think it's a great game. Maybe potentially game of the year material here. But anyway, I don't know. I'm curious. Have you guys picked it up? Have you played it? Are you interested in getting it? I want to know all of your thoughts and comments. Anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Appreciate you. Take care, guys.